I keep telling y'all I'm trying to get out of this mess and comment on some serious things. And of course, I keep getting drugged back in. We talked about Laura Lumer, the 9/11 truther, who believes that it was a rigged job. And I'm not sure who, and uh, that the whole thing was all planned out in the United States. And of course, uh, a lot of the people in the Bush administration who know 1,000% better than this uh, seem to be too chicken shit to speak out and say something. And I remember 9/11 just like it was yesterday. And all of these people, brave people, these firemen, people that came in and did all this and all the things that we did in response, apparently we honor their memory by lying about bullshit. But I can't help any of that. So we had Miss Lumer, the 9/11 truther, who was Trump's top aide on the airplane. There's a lot of speculation of what might have gone on there. I think Bill Maher engaged in some. I generally try not to comment on that kind of thing, but there's certainly some things that would raise suspicion. And there are further events that are sort of causing me to wonder just how trashy these goddamn people are. So let's start with Mrs. Trump, Melania, who has new, what do you call it, book, a very loose definition. And she said, I'm not making this up, that she was a nude model and that liberals don't like pictures of the human body or some such nonsense as that. I mean, as I recall, the quote liberals, unquote, during the Renaissance were pretty much into the glory of the human body and what an elegant thing it was. I'll have to be honest with you. I never heard a single person criticize her because she came over here doing nude shots. And some people say that she did this to draw attention to herself to increase book sales. It's a reasonable explanation, perhaps. I think a more reasonable explanation is she can't stand her husband. Just can't stand him and like to throw up on him. And anything that she can do to further embarrass him. Now, I think where she's wrong. I don't think you can embarrass this man with anything. But she put this story out to let him know that he's not in charge of shit, and she has a prenup, and it's just one of those things, and that goes on in that marriage. And they go public with everything. So usually you try to give people a little sense of privacy in their home life, but when you start giving interviews about how you were a nude model and people criticize you are doing no such goddamn thing, you do as you want your own body. We're Democrats. We'll tell you what to do. But I'm pretty sure she did that to embarrass him. And I like to see the Robert Jeffries of the world or Franklin Graham. Jerry Falwell, I wouldn't tell him about it because, he could be very interested. He and Becca, his wife. And then we had the case of Don Jr. According to press reports, I don't know if they're still true, that Don Jr. and Kimberly Guilfoyle were living in what we call Louisiana law open, notorious, and flagrant concubinage, which is a fancy way to say they were shacking up at Mar-a-Lago, of which, again, I don't really care. It's not the problem. But it looks like that Don Jr. went to have brunch at something called Honor Bar in Palm Beach and ran into a self-described socialite philanthropist by the name of Bettina Anderson, I think. And they were having, I don't know, Bloody Marys, mimosas, sucking on a lot of things. And one of the things, according to press reports, that they were sucking on was each other's tongues. And if I were Kimberly, I'm just going to give you a little piece of advice, lady. You don't have a prenup. You're not married. You're in your 50s. You're really disposable. And so I would be looking for me something maybe new and different, because they're giving you the signal that it's time for you to move on and move out. And this is so in character with these people that they would do something like this, and I'm sure they want to expedite her exit from Mar-a-Lago, because well, she's getting older, and I don't think they're into kind of women in their 50s that much. If you got a socialite and a philanthropist, I don't know how you're going to beat that. I mean, must be some sainted woman here. And so the escapades of the Trump family keep going on and on and on. And of course, we can't forget Don Jr.'s crypto business, whatever that is. And these are some world-class trashy people. I mean, world-class. And I think it's good that we see this. I remember a Republican Party that used to lecture me on family values, whatever that means. And, I'm sure all these bloviating right-wing preachers can come up with an answer for all of this. Before I let you go, I feel it's incumbent on me to comment. It's something a little more serious, so I'm glad to be able to do this. When she could do a long-form interview, Trump sits down and he does interviews, and J.D. Vance says, well, if you're going to sit there and lie, what difference does it make? It would crack me up during the debate. They said, well, they fact-checked Trump more than they fact-checked Harris. Well, I think it was a guy at CNN came up with 33 untruths. What do you call them? I don't know. False statements. But lies, I guess. Trump during the past debate and won by her. So what are you supposed to do? If it's 33-1, do you act like it's even? No, of course you don't. And then it's all this stuff about, well, she needs to. Why didn't Trump do another debate? She's already agreed to it. What's the problem, big boy? I mean, you sit there and you mouth off, and your supporters mouth off, and the Fox News mouths off, and Newsmax mouths off. Well, it's real simple. Schedule another debate so you can get your fat ass whipped again. I don't understand why we having this conversation about who's doing more long form interviews when one side is expressed a willingness and almost a glee at debating again. Well, by the way, you get to answer any question they ask you questions. The other side gets to ask you questions. You stand up, you look at your opponent face to face. 67 million people watch it. I'm sure it's, when you got all of the total views and everything, it's probably close to 100 million. So why don't you do that as opposed to sitting down for some Sunday morning interview that on a good day would get 5 million people probably and get maximum exposure? She's ready to go. Let's rock and roll, dude. And he's back there whining and lying and doing all the crap he can. Maybe he needs to pay a little more attention to his family and tell him to, cool it down at least till election time on the tongue sucking in the middle of a restaurant in Palm Beach. Or, maybe his wife can talk about something other than posing in a nude. But, what we got here is some really, really trashy people. We got a scared old man in Donald Trump that we're dealing with. He doesn't know how to deal with Vice President Harris, who is a strong, forceful, elegant, brilliant woman who just literally kicked his ass. Okay? You got it, Donnie boy. You got your ass kicked. Now, I think you're so goddamn fat, I don't know if you could wipe your own ass if you tell me the truth, but that's something for people that understand geometry to tell me if you can be that fat and wipe your ass, because I doubt it. But we're going to keep our comments coming. I appreciate all your support. I appreciate all the comments that you make. I try to read as many of them as I possibly can. And this little corner of our universe here is going to keep lighting the light of truth and expose that which they expose it themselves. Like she exposes a body, or they expose their tongues in Palm Beach restaurant, they expose whatever. And again, Kimberly, if I'm you, you don't have no prenup, you don't have anything. I would try to get out of there with something. Maybe you can, steal some of the silverware or something if it wouldn't bother you. But until we do, we'll meet again. Thank you very much.